Security technology, firewalls, and VPNs. Lesson 5. Access control. Access control method by which system determine whether or how to admit a user into a trusted area of organization. Mandatory access controls, or MAC. Use data classification scheme. Discretionary access controls implemented at the discretion or option of the data user. Non-discriminationary controls. Strictly enforced version of MACs that are managed by central authority. IAA. Identification mechanism, whether by unverified entities seeking access to a resource, provide a label by which they are known to be system. Authentication. Validating a supplicant purported identification. Authorization. The matching of authenticated entity to a list of information assets and corresponding access levels. Accountability ensures that all action on system authorized or unauthorized can be attributed to authenticated identity. Firewalls. Specific types of information from moving between the outside world and the inside world may be separate computer system, software service running and exist or an existing router or server, separate network containing supporting devices. Firewall processing modes. Five processing modes by which firewalls can be categorized: packet filtering, application gateways, circuit gateways, MAC layer firewalls, hybrids. Application gateways. The application gateway, also known as application level firewall or application firewall, is frequently installed on dedicated computers separate from filtering router, but is commonly used in conjunction with filtering router. The application firewall is also known as proxy server since it runs special software that acts as proxy for service requests. MAC layer firewalls. MAC layer firewalls are designed to operate the immediate access control of the iOS network mode. This gives these firewalls the ability to consider specific host computer's identity to its filter decision. Using this approach, the MAC address specific computers are linked to ACL entires to that identifies the specific types of packets that can be sent to each host and other traffic blocks. Hybrid firewalls. Hybrid firewalls combine the elements of other types of firewalls, that is, the element of packet filtering and proxy services of packet filtering and circuit gateways. Alternately, a hybrid firewall system may actually consist of two separate firewall devices. Each is separate firewall system, but they are connected so that they work in tandem. Firewalls categorized by development generation. First generation firewalls are static packet filtering firewalls, that is, simple networking devices that filter packets according to their headers as the packets travel to and from organization network. Second generation firewalls are application level firewalls or proxy servers, that is dedicated system that are separate from filtering router and that provide intermediate service for restores. Third generation firewalls are stateful infection firewalls, which, as you may recall, monitor network connection between internal and external system using state tables. Fourth generation, while static filtering firewalls such as first and third generation firewalls allow entire set of one type of packet to enter in response to an authorized request. The fourth generation firewall, which are also known as dynamic packet filtering firewalls, allow only a particular packet with a particular source, destination, and port address. Fifth generation. The fifth generation firewall is the kernel proxy, a specialized from that works under the Windows NT executive, which is the kernel of Windows NT. This type of firewalls evaluate packets to multiply layers on the protocol stack by checking security in the kernel as data is passed up and down the stack. Firewalls categorized by structure. Firewalls can be categorized by structure used to implement them. Most commercial grade firewalls are dedicated appliances, that is, they are standalone units running on fully customized computing platforms that provide both the physical network connection and firmware programming necessary to perform their function. Whatever the function may be, some firewall applications use highly customized, sometimes proprietary hardware systems that are developed exclusively as firewall devices. Commercial grade firewalls appliances. Firewall appliances are standalone, self-contained combination of computing hardware and software. These devices frequently have many of the features of a general purpose www.jetmuni.com computer with the addition of firmware-based construction that increase the reliability and performance and minimize the likelihood of being compromised. The customized software operating system that device can be periodically upgraded, but be modified using directional physical connection of other user extensive authenticator authorization protocols. The firewall will set stored non-volatile memory, and thus they can be changed by technical staff when necessary, but are available each time the device is restarted. A commercial grade firewall system consists of application software that is configured for the requirements of firewall application and running on a general purpose computer. The organizations can install firewall software on an existing general purpose computer system, or they can purchase hardware that has been configured to the specification that yield optimum performance for the firewall software. This system exploit the fact that firewalls are essentially application software packages that use common general purpose network connection to move data from one network to another. Small office, home office. Firewall appliances. Small office or home office firewall applications as more small business and residents obtain fast internet connection with digital subscriber line or cable modem connection. They become more and more vulnerable to attack. What makes small business and work from home users don't realize that unlike a dial-up connection, this high-speed service are always on, and thus the computers connected to them are constantly connected. These computers are therefore much more www.getmyuni.com likely to show up on the scanning action performed by hackers that if they were only connected to the duration of a dial-up session, coupled with the typical lax security capability of home computing operating system like Windows 95, Windows 98, and even Windows Millennium Edition. Most of these systems are wide open to outside intrusion. Firewall architectures. The configuration that works best in particular organization depends on three factors: the objectives of the network, the organization's ability to develop and implement the architecture, and the budget available for the function. Packet filtering routes. Most organizations with a internet connection have some from the router as interface to internet at the perimeter between the organization internal networks at the external service provider. Many of these routers can be configured to reject packets that the organization does not allow into the network. Screened host firewalls. The architecture combines the fire out filtering router with separate dedicated firewall such as application proxy server. This approach allows the router to pre-screen packets to minimize the network traffic and loads on internal proxy. Dual home host firewalls. The next step in firewall architectural is this dual home host. When this architectural approach is used, the bastion host contains two NIC rather than one as in the bastion host configuration. Screen subnet firewalls. The dominant architecture used today is the screen subnet firewall. The architecture of screen subnet firewall provides a DMZ. The DMZ can be a dedicated port on the firewall device linking a single bastion host or can be connected to a screen subnet. SOC server. Deserve a brief special attention is SOC's firewall implementation. SOC is the protocol for handling TCP traffic through a proxy server. The SOC system is proprietary secret level proxy server that places special SOC client-side agents on each workstation. Best practices for firewalls. All traffic from trusted network is allowed. This allows member of an organization to access the service that they need. Filtering and logging of outbound traffic is possible when indicated by specific organizational policies. All Internet Controls Messages Protocol or ICMP data should be denied, known as the ping server. ICMP is a common method for hackers resonance and should be turned off to prevent snooping. When web services are offered outside the firewall, HTTP traffic should be denied from reaching your internal networks through the use of some from www.getmyunit.com proxy access or DMZ architecture. That way, if any employees are running web servers for internal use in their desktops, the services are invisible to outside internet. If the web server is behind the firewall, allow HTTP or HTTPS for the internet and large to view it. The best solution in this place, the web servers contain critical data inside the network and use proxy service from a DMZ. And also to restrict web traffic bound for internal network addresses in response to only those requests that originated from internal addresses. Firewall rules. Firewall operate by examining a data packet and performing a comparison with some predetermined local rules. The logic is based on a set of guidelines programmed in by firewall administration or created dynamic and based ongoing requests for information. This logical set is most commonly referred to as firewall rules, rule-based or firewall logic. Content filters, another utility that can contribute to the protection of organization system is mission and intentional denial of service, and it is often closely associated with firewalls, is the content filter. A content filter is software filter, technically not a firewall that allows administration to restrict access content from a network. Protect remote control. The networks that organized are seldom used only by people at that location. When connections are made between one network and another, the connections are arranged and managed carefully. Installing such network connection requires using these lines of other data channels provided by the common carriers, and therefore these connections are usually permanent and secure under the requirement of formal service agreement. Radius and traces. Radius and TACACs are systems that authenticated the credential of users who are trying to access the organization network via dial-up connection. Typical dial-up system places the responsibility for the authentication of use on the system directly connected to the modems. Secure authentication with KERBEROS. KERBEROS keeps a database containing the private keys of clients and servers in the cases of clients. This key is simply the client's encrypted password. Network service running on servers in the network registering KERBEROS, as do the clients that use those services. Sesame. The Sesame European system application in a multi-vendor environment is the result of European research and development project partly funded by European Commission. Virtual private network or VPN. Virtual private networks are implemented of cryptographic technology. A virtual private technology or VPN is a private and secure network connection between systems that use the data communication capability of unsecured and public network. Transport mode. Transport mode, the data with IP packet is encrypted, but the header information is not. This allows the user to establish a secure link directly with the remote host, encrypting only the data contents of the packet. That's all. Thank you.